Hello, and welcome to the Cultivating Confidence podcast. I am your host, Dr. Nicole Grams. I am a life coach who specializes in anxiety, health, and human design. And I also happen to be a functional medicine pharmacist. This podcast is a compilation of conversations that I've had with clients and colleagues. So listen in as we explore the mind, body, and soul's confidence in its many forms.
Got it.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. On today's episode of Unscripted, I have back with me yet again the wonderful and amazing Katie Johnstone. And she had a specific topic request today. So tell me what you want to talk about.
I want to talk about regret
Ooh.
because, well, I heard it on a podcast, but it's very relatable.
Yes.
So if your audience doesn't know my current situation, which they probably don't. So I recently, like within the past month and a half, broke up with my boyfriend of almost 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a very
Big
hard
change.
thing, big change. And I moved. So we had lived together for a very long time and in the same house and had a very enmeshed life. And I broke that off and went out on my own, strong, independent woman. And I was expecting to have some pangs of regret. Like, oh no, what did I do? I made a mistake. I left my comfort zone.
Yep.
What was I thinking? Like, this was but that hasn't happened.
Interesting.
And not that there hasn't been any pain and it didn't hurt and it didn't suck. But I haven't been like, oh, what about that path? Like, what if I stayed on that path? And so I wanted to talk about the difference between like pain and regret.
Yeah.
Because they sometimes come simultaneously.
Yeah. And people get them so intermixed, and the guilt and the like, all of the things. I think guilt and regret are often intermixed as well. But yeah, I think that's a really good distinction that you are bringing to the table today with the, well, I actually do wonder. I know that you have been on a personal growth journey for a while. That's like basically how we met in through the farm to table. Like, I think a lot of us there are going through a personal growth journey.
Yep.
Anyway, I wonder if the growth that you have done in the past, however many years, has helped you get to the point where you're not experiencing the regret that you thought you might.
I think so. I think I have gotten better about listening to my insides, what my truth is, and what I want my life to look like, versus what I want my life to look like to everybody else, because they're different,
right?
Always.
Yes.
And not molding it and forging it according to what I think everybody else wants it to be. Because that's been a hard thing too, and that's part of the guilt is like, what am I I'm disrupting preconceptions about what everybody thought that I was going to be like. I was supposed to be in this relationship forever.
This was supposed to be it. Everybody knew it
forever. So I had to stop that because it was not working. And the guilt is real. That's real, but it's not regret. I don't have regret.
Right.
But I also want to talk about how we try to push regret away. And, not having regret is like a sign of somebody who's like a sociopath, and to get, like you have to have like a lobotomy to help that. And you don't want that. You don't want to, nobody wants that.
Yeah.
And so it's okay. If you regret, you're a human, and it means you care if you have regret.
Right.
It's good. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Sucks while it's
Well,
happening, but
and I do want to point out, like, I think a lot of people live their life with constant regret of everything. And I guess my take on regret is sort of like these are, if you look at it as facts that built who you are today, like I tend to do, like I used to live my life with a lot of regret. And then I learned that that's just causing me to have a terrible time in the present,
mhm.
right? Looking back and saying, oh, I should have done something different. Oh, I regret not. I mean, there are some things that I look back and kind of have pangs of regret of not doing.
Yeah.
And I think like there's some
Deathbed regrets.
right, the deathbed regrets. And it's more things like I was too nervous in the moment and like I wish I hadn't done that. But like the big regrets in my life are those, right? Where I think at the beginning of my stepping away from the traditional pharmacy world and into
Mhm.
functional medicine was sort of like do I regret? Like I did have some regret for like going through pharmacy school and like thinking that this is going to be my life. But then once I learned that I wouldn't be where I am today without that experience,
Yeah.
I don't regret the experience. No
Yeah.
matter how much time and energy and money I invested into the experience, it's not a regret that I have. Would I
Yeah.
do it again? Maybe not. Like knowing what I know now, how would I live my life differently? Like I
Yeah.
won't ever get that chance. But also, you know, and it really just brings down the experience that you have today by
Yeah.
living with a lot of regret.
Because you're picturing that path, it's imaginary.
Mm-hmm.
It's an imaginary path. And when you leave something big like a career or relationship, um, like where's the line
Yeah.
of missing something and missing the good parts about it and the regret. It's like that road that you didn't take. And you're just sitting there imagining it and it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
It's not real. So like you're comparing the fake road to the real road and you're going, oh, well, maybe maybe that path doesn't have any pain and
Yeah.
suffering. It's perfect over there. And I should have
Yep.
done that. And
Yeah.
it's not reliable,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
You that probably has pain too. It's like the
Right.
different kind of pain.
Yeah. That brings up another concept that I thought was very helpful. Looking back at the path you didn't take and you
Mm,
regret not taking it, like, especially if it's like a major life decision or something like that, like, can you guarantee that it would have turned out better for you? No,
no.
basically, no. There
Right.
could have been something else going on. There could have been an unforeseen car accident that, tore
Mm,
someone from your life that you didn't expect to,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
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 And I think we've talked about this a few times, but like the concept of doing the best that you can.
Yeah.
And like if you live with the belief that I have always done the best I could,
Mm,
none of your decisions in the past should fall under the regret category.
yeah. Just because you have the pangs of regret doesn't
Mhm.
mean you made the wrong choice.
Right.
I think that's important.
Right.
It's an inevitable result of making a hard choice.
Yeah.
If it was easy, it would be easy. And
Right.
there wouldn't.
Like if you have the regrets of like not following a dream of yours or something like that, like you made the best decision that you could at the time. And if you just trust that and trust yourself in that,
Yeah.
that's where a lot of the negative emotion can just let go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Say more.
Well, I want to go back to the deathbed
Yes.
because I heard something from it was an Australian palliative care nurse,
Okay.
Bonnie Ware, Bonnie Ware. And she had the 5 regrets of the dying.
Mm,
And so the first one is I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the one others expected of me. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I had had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. And I wish that I had let myself be happier. And these are things we can do right now.
Mm-hmm. For little to no money.
For no money. Well, working hard probably gets you money, but
not necessarily. I mean, there's a lot of people that do not work very hard and they make a boatload of money.
This is
like,
true.
And that's like a thing that I've had to work through owning a small business of like the hours of hard work do not equal money.
True.
Sometimes they do.
Mm.
But like, that's not a hard and fast rule.
It's not a hard fast.
No. So yeah, I kind of want to go through each of those and discuss a little bit more, like what that actually means in reality.
Yeah. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the one others expected of me. Woohoo! That's a big one.
Dang.
Damn.
Yeah.
Ties it all back to what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Like trying to meet expectations of other people, pleasing other people.
It's you. I mean, I think it's all of us to a certain extent. Like we all have opinions that we value from other people for sure. Yeah. And also it takes a lot of courage to live the life that you want to live.
Mm-hmm. Culture and society is like molded us into what we're supposed to be.
Right.
And then we're stuck.
Yeah. Well, and like, even if you have expectations for yourself that this is what my life is going to look like when I decided I wanted to be a retail pharmacist and this is the path, I had a very clear path laid out of take these classes, go to these places, do these things. And this is how you will live the rest of your life and you're set. And I was like, oh, well, past me had an expectation that this is what I would love to do. And past me, unfortunately, was wrong. We're going to grieve that part of the whole thing. And also like, let myself be who I am today, not who I was 10, 20 years ago. And right now, I'm not who I will be in 20 years, 10, 20 years, right? Like I'm going to allow myself to change and be authentic in my own life
at that moment.
Indefinitely.
Yes.
And that involves me changing and adapting and
giving yourself permission to do that.
Yeah. Scary.
Write the permission slips.
Yeah. Other people are going to have opinions about this, Katie. What do we do? All right. Next one.
I wish I hadn't worked so hard.
Yeah. What does that mean to you?
Ugh. Burning yourself out to the ground.
Yeah.
Not stopping, not resting.
Yeah.
Feeling like you have to do everything.
Yeah. To me, I think it means all of those things. And also the amount of effort it took for me to give a fuck. Like I cared so much that it was like an obsession about some of the things that now I realize didn't need to do that. It's okay.
Yeah.
Especially like working for somebody else. Like I cared, well, and even for the things that I do for myself, like there are some things that I have a lot of energy pent up in like caring too much. And therefore I put in so many extra hours to make up for any deficiencies that I have or somebody else has. And like, it's not my job to do that.
I feel that.
I think there's a pattern right now that is that it's becoming known on social media about like the quiet quitting of the like, this is the job you're paying me for. And I was overachieving and you did not reward me for that. So I'm going to go back to what you have asked me to do originally. And this is where I'm going to live my life until something changes. And that's terrifying.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes. All of that. I tend to just do it all because it's what needs to be done
Right.
to get an efficient workflow going.
Right.
And I am literally stretched to
Yeah.
the max.
Yes.
Okay. Like I am in 3 different places
Yeah.
at the time. And my brain is like firing off on all cylinders. And at the end of the day, I am drained. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
all parts are drained.
Yeah. And I think this is where like learning to have boundaries and stating them out loud of the like, I can only do so much.
Yeah.
This is what I'm willing to do today. What would you like me to prioritize?
Yeah.
Something's got to give.
That's a hard thing.
Yes.
That's the opposite of what people pleasers do.
Correct. Yep. I'm going to respect myself enough to not break myself to make you happy.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, and the people pleasing aspect, when I learned about it being a manipulative strategy, I was like, wait, hold on, what?
Yeah. I thought I was just
Because,
being a good girl.
right. I thought I was being super nice, but
I thought
like,
I was making people proud.
yeah, for sure. And sometimes that's a side effect, but also it's, I'm not going to show you who I am and what I actually think in order for you to be happy.
Oof.
And it doesn't matter how much I take on or how I feel. I'm going to hide that so that I can manipulate you into having a better mood.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like, I don't think you can handle being upset with something, right? Like to the outer world.
Yeah.
People can handle being upset. It's
Yeah.
okay.
It's okay. Sorry. Not sorry.
All right, next one.
I wish I had had the courage to express my feelings.
Mm,
Ooh, literally all of these apply to me. I don't
yeah.
know everybody else, but the past 5 years of my life, I have been in a relationship with an awesome, amazing person.
Yeah.
Like, didn't treat me badly.
Yeah.
You know, work. It was fine. Everything's fine.
Right.
But I didn't say that things weren't fine.
Right.
Didn't talk about it.
Right.
Throat
Because
chakra blocked
yep. The
because then that
choking
was a
sensation
rock
whenever you,
choking sensation. Because if spoken out loud, then my knowing, as Glennon Doyle talks
yeah.
about it, my knowing becomes known, and then I have to do something about it.
Yeah.
And that doing is the most uncomfortable thing
Yes.
ever, which is to cause a reckoning. And
And most people don't want to take on that responsibility. And that's totally cool, right? Like if that's what you want to choose it intentionally.
yeah,
And it's okay.
yeah,
It is a lot of work. Not fun.
no,
There are some joyful moments that kind of break through, but it's also like the stock market.
yeah. And I always have a fear of like my emotions getting out of control, whatever that means,
Mm-hmm.
whatever I feel like control is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I don't really have a problem crying. I cry all the time.
Yeah.
And I cry in front of, I don't really hide it.
Yeah.
But it's more like a frustration. Like if something's bothering me, I don't want to speak it out loud because then I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I get an anger
Mm-hmm.
certain level, and just lose it and not be able to be professional and cordial and kind,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I think another aspect of the expressing feelings is like knowing what you're feeling. Because a
Mm,
lot of us hide behind anger
mm,
because it's a socially acceptable negative emotion. And we
yep,
turn our embarrassment or shame or even depression
yep,
into anger and blame and directing it outwardly. But
yep,
one of the things that I really like to do is to teach my clients how to experience emotions and to just like let them be okay.
Yeah.
Because so many of us have grown up not understanding that it's okay to feel all of the emotions that you feel. So then we pile the shame and embarrassment on top of it, like, oh, I shouldn't be feeling like this. Well,
Yep.
you are.
But
Reality is you are.
You're human.
Yep. And if you just take the shame off of the feeling of the emotion in and of itself, even if you feel like a terrible person for feeling the way you feel,
yeah,
just let it happen. This is reality for me, and this is how I feel. Yeah. I'm allowed to feel this way.
And that's why I love Brene Brown and Atlas of the Heart, because literally goes through all of the different emotions and feelings and finds them, and how we can mold things together, and it kind of becomes blurry, like between different emotions and different feelings, and being able to just identify what you are feeling in a moment is so important.
So important. And that's why I try to give people these like emotions wheels. You can find them on the internet, but like it starts in the middle and there's like 4 or 5 different core emotions depending on who you ask. And then it kind of branches out into like more specific and more specific. And like the farther out you get, the deeper that feeling can feel. Because like it's sad versus like distraught, for example, is a deeper feeling of sad. Where sad is like this, like, but you can start in the middle and you're like, okay, which one fits best? And then kind of move out from there. And it can be so helpful just to name it, because then you understand that you're not the only one who's ever felt this. Yeah. This is a normal human emotion for me to experience. Look, it's on this list. It's one of my options.
And it's easier to express it because you're being so specific.
Yes.
And if another person is involved, being able to communicate that, which is another issue.
Yes. I know it has been helpful for me to pinpoint specifically what I'm feeling sometimes, because then it brings up, okay, well, why am I feeling shame right now? And then I can really start to understand myself and what my brain thinks is going on. And we can just put some of it down right away and not worry about it again. It's like, oh, that's interesting that I'm feeling this right now. Well, I don't have to feel that. I can just let it go.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is that easy.
Yeah.
Sometimes. All right. What was the next one?
I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends.
Yeah, I'm terrible at that.
That's a hard one.
Friends who are listening, I love you.
Love you guys. And I have been described as fiercely loyal. And so I'm pretty, I try to stay in touch, like with my people, like my group. But still, it's when you see somebody that you haven't seen in a while that, means a lot to you. It's like, oh, I wish,
Yeah.
By
stay in touch, how often do you mean?
It depends. I mean, close friends, like every week, and then it's also a little bit more difficult because I live in Maine and I have one friend in Maine. And so, it's just a distance thing. So physically seeing each other is different. But, obviously social media brings in a whole nother element of this. Is that considered staying in touch?
Sometimes.
You post your life out there and then they see it. And so they're seeing you, but they're not seeing you.
Right.
Until recently, like I don't know how many people know about my current situation, my closest people do, but you lose. And I think there's a difference between not staying in touch and outgrowing somebody.
Sure.
Because that's been another thing I have tried to kind of look into, is like, how is this relationship changing? If it was somebody that I was friends with when I was younger and a little bit more in the partying scene, like, is that the same kind of relationship that I want to have going forward. Like, what kind
Right.
of relationship do we have? Was it one kind of surrounded in gossiping and
Right.
talking about other people, and try to work on that.
Right. And sometimes those people have changed also, and you
Yeah.
might not know it if you're not staying in touch.
Yep.
The reason I asked you is because I have a tendency, like I have a core group of a few ladies that they're my people.
Mm.
And I have known them since elementary school, like second grade or so, maybe even first. I don't know. But we have grown up together. There have been times where we've grown apart, made different decisions, come back together again. And I still only talk to them maybe every few months.
Mm.
And every time I talk to, like, it's not awkward. It's just like companionable distance. And we live in different parts of the state. And it's not easy for us to just travel, like go next door and see each other. Although it's probably easier than than we think it is. But
Yeah.
anyway, I mean, life gets in the way and we let it, and we come back and have amazing conversations. And it's great. Like there's no separation. We can pick right up where we left off.
Mm. Yep.
That doesn't mean I think it's okay that I wait months and months before I reach out, but
Yeah.
it's sort of like I forget to. It's not that I'm not thinking about you. It's just that I didn't take the action. So I think, yeah, that's a good one.
Mm.
Take the action.
Yeah.
Even
I
if
try
it's just,
to, like, as soon as I'm thinking about somebody, I just send it.
yeah,
Hey, whatever I'm thinking, I'm just, hey.
yeah,
Just because like they're on my mind and I'm thinking about them and I want them to know.
right.
Yeah.
And as an adult, it's hard to make friends
Yes.
because the friendships are formed with time, unplanned time spent together, or something. Like I saw something that explained, and that's why most of the friends that we have are made through work, because we're forced to be together.
Yeah.
And spend time together and
Cool.
learn to deal with life together for
Yeah.
more time than we spend with our significant others most of the time.
Yeah.
It takes some intentionality to make friends, especially as an adult.
Yeah. Definitely.
So reach out and stay in touch because, yeah.
Build a tribe.
Yes. Build a tribe.
Work on the tribe.
All right.
That's the goal.
Yes.
Next one. I
Yes.
wish that I let myself be happier.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a dagger.
Uh-huh.
What do we do to not let ourselves be happier?
So many things.
Happier, not happy.
Right. And happy is not the end goal ever. It's it's one of the options for the emotions that we can experience, right?
Mm.
For me, being happier means letting the small shit go.
Mm.
Not caring how my spouse folds the towels, for example.
Not caring that the printer isn't working at work. Because let me tell you, the other day, I had to give myself a talk. Katie, settle down. It's just a paper jam. You're going to be okay.
Yes.
It's not the end.
And
This
also feel free to indulge in those moments.
in
But
5 years, are you going to care about this?
Right. It's okay.
In 5 minutes, are you going to care about this?
Yeah.
Maybe, but
it's okay for you to indulge in negative emotions.
it's okay to swear at it and want to do like the Office Space scene where I just take a bat to it. That's okay. Because that's real. And that's a dream sometimes. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And also like living and like taking in the moments that you do feel really good.
Yes.
They are just moments and they're fleeting.
Yeah.
And so you like to sit with it and really sit with it,
I think that might be where like gratitude comes in.
Yeah.
And what came up when you were just saying that is when you're in the shower and you're scrubbing your hair, right? Washing your hair, like just the feeling of fingers scratching my scalp, my own fingers scratching my scalp is amazing.
Yeah.
Let's just indulge in that moment.
Yeah.
That felt really good, right?
Yeah.
All right. How do we copy paste
I
that?
was excited about walking my dog today and just
Yeah.
being outside. I was like, this is cool. I like
Yes.
that.
Yeah. So I have read a few books about happiness, and one of them, I cannot think of what the name or author is, but there is a taxidermied animal on the cover and it's about happiness. And I love it so much. And
So
when
if
I find
anybody
it,
knows,
if anybody knows,
send a
let me
DM.
know. But I will try to find it and put it in the show notes. But also, The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin was one that was really good. And I also think that in a different way, Loving What Is by Byron Katie, which
Yeah.
is the book that changed my life.
Same.
I had to read it a couple of times in order to understand what it was really trying to say to me. I got mad the first time. So fair warning, if you read it, like you might not understand it. It's okay. And it might not be your thing either. But it helped me so significantly much. Like my life was changed in 3 weeks. So yeah, I would recommend those books for sure. Have you read any good books about happiness?
The Byron Katie one is epic.
Yes.
And I didn't read it, I listened to it.
Yes.
It was interesting.
She is the audiobook narrator.
Yeah.
As well.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Life-changing.
Life.
Go read it.
Go.
All right. Any other words of wisdom about regret?
Yeah. I think your regrets aren't as ugly as you think they are.
Oh, yeah.
That's not from me. That's from Catherine Schultz, who
Yeah.
did a TED Talk on to not regret.
Very nice.
So I can't take credit for that, but I thought it was really good. I was
Yes.
like, wow.
It is good. And also just a reminder that living with regrets is just fighting reality, and it's just bringing down
It's just
your
increasing your
current
suffering.
life,
Yes.
increasing your suffering. Yes. I think that's all for today, Katie. Thanks.
Okay. We dropped some bombs today.
Yes. Thank you for taking the time to listen in today. Many of you will be able to take the ideas that you've heard and apply them in your daily life, and that's really all you need. That's amazing. But for those of you who could use a little one-on-one help with how to make these things actually work for you in your real life, please reach out. The link to schedule a consult with me is in the show notes. You don't have to do this alone. See you soon.